Some of us may not be able to access the computer in the same way that most people can, either due to a type of hearing impairment or visual impairment or other types of impairments. The settings in an operating system can help us make the computer adapt to our impairments. In this video, we will see how the settings on the Ubuntu computer can help us access the computer better. To do this, let me click on Search Your Computer and type Universal Access and choose Universal Access. When I choose Universal Access, I get this window where I have multiple tabs. The first one is for seeing, second one for hearing, third one for typing, fourth one for pointing and clicking, and let's explore these four options now. Now, one of the things that we need to notice about all of these options is it is best explored with the person who needs help. It is quite impossible for somebody without the right kind of empathy to help someone else who needs these options to be switched on or switched off. So the advice is sit with the person who needs help and switch on or off some of these features and see which one helps them and which one doesn't. So let's look at the first tab, which is seeing. Let me switch on the high contrast and the colors on my screen will change. So let me switch it back off and see the difference. So that option may help a few people. And the second option is larger text. So let me switch that on and switch it off. And the third option is a screen reader, where it will give me the option to read everything that's available on the screen. And the fourth option is beep on caps and num lock, and it will beep every time I switch on the caps or the num lock. So these are some of the options for people who will have challenges seeing the screen properly. These options may or may not help somebody who is completely blind, but not everybody will have the same challenges, which is why we repeat that we need to sit with the people who need help and then explore these options. So let's move on from the seeing tab to the hearing tab. And in the hearing tab, we have this one option called visual alerts. Sometimes our computer makes a beep noise accompanied with an error or a warning message, and with people who can't hear using the computer, that beep noise or sound may be unheard. For them, we can switch on visual alerts. So along with the beep noise, it will also provide some visual feedback on the warning or the error. Now let's move on to the third tab, which is typing. There are times when some of us will not be able to type properly using a conventional keyboard. For that, there are multiple options available here. So let's look at the first one. This is the on-screen keyboard. If we want to use the mouse instead of the traditional keyboard, we can switch it on. So when I switch it on, the keyboard appears at the bottom of the screen, and using the mouse, I will be able to click on these numbers and alphabets. So let me switch it back off. Second option is sticky keys. There are times when we are asked to press either a Control Alt and Delete key all at the same time, or maybe a Control S for save or Control P for printing, and some of us will not be able to press two buttons at the same time, and in such cases we can switch on sticky keys. When we switch sticky keys on, we need not press the control and the P or the S or the control alt delete all at once. We can press those keys one after the other, and for that option we need to keep this on. So let me switch this back off. The third option is slow key, which means even if I type a letter or a number, it won't take my input unless I press it long enough. And there are other options like bounce keys. Ignore fast duplicate key press. If I press the same letter twice, it won't take my input. The last option is enable by keyboard, which means I can turn this feature of accessibility on or off just using the keyboard. Now let's look at the fourth option, which is pointing and clicking. Here I have the first one, which is the mouse keys. Usually the mouse pointer on my screen is controlled using the mouse, but if I want to use my arrow keys on my keyboard to control the mouse pointer, I could even do that. For that, I need to switch this one on. Simulated secondary click, which is also called the right click. What I could do is, if I can't do a right click on the mouse, I could switch this on, and by holding the left click for a longer time, it will consider that as the right click. And the last option here is hover click. A hover click means I don't need to click. I can't click at all. So I'll just take the mouse pointer and leave it there for a while, and it will consider that as a click. So these are some of the options that we can have while using a computer. Again, if you're helping someone else access the computer, it is best that we sit next to them and explore all of these options, and they will give us appropriate amount of feedback to help them to make sure that they have an accessible computer.